Maidstone, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benny. Sells.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of this Gull'S Eye View. I'm joined by Clive, Chris, and Dom. Right, Clive, take us in. Talk about your day at Maidstone away.
You want to talk about Maidstone, do you? Right.
Yeah, not particularly, to be honest.
Not really, no, but
this is the Torquay podcast, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, this is the Torquay United podcast, isn't it? It was obviously a very disappointing day, difficult game for the players and the staff, I think. Couple of changes at the start. Obviously, we had Jordan Dyer back in the side, didn't we? And Omar Musa came in on the left wing for different reasons. Both of those changes backfired, although I was sort of wholeheartedly behind them, really. Very sad to see Jordan Dyer go down with a recurrence of his hamstring strain. And you wonder, how many weeks he's going to be out now. That's another blow with the continued absence of Jay Fulston.
It's the third time as well, Clive, isn't it? It's the third time he's had a hamstring issue this season, which is a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. Once you've got that weakness, you do tend to do it again, don't you? 46 games in the league. It's a long old season. I'm gonna say as much positive as I can in that it was an absolute joy to go to proper football ground with a decent home support. It was like, it sort of brought back memories of travelling away in the Football League almost, because there was a really good atmosphere on the day. Torquay played their part, but actually, Maidstone is supporting its team. They're a Phoenix club. They went to the wall in the early 1990s, and they come back with a vengeance. And George Alakobi there knows what he's doing. Their manager, he's got them absolutely fighting for the shirt. And over the 90 minutes, they were better than us. They've got the best defensive record in the division. They didn't really give us much of a sniff, and they took their chance when it came. We'll obviously go on and talk about the goal because it was the main talking point of the game. But Charlie Seaman had a brilliant game down the right-hand side for them, and he took his chance brilliantly for me. He buried it past the keeper. And if anybody tells you that we were worth a point, no, we weren't. I'm afraid we weren't, because we were never going to score. And realistically, away from home, you're not going to get away with 90 minutes very often without conceding. And it's a disappointing result. It puts huge pressure now on the Eastbourne game. And I'll shut up and let somebody else have a go now.
Was there that much in the game, Clive? You're saying we didn't deserve anything. Was there that much in it? Because from the highlights that I've seen, Heyman didn't make a save of any kind, really, did he, during the game? There was a few balls flashing across the box and that, but not chances as such, was there?
There was probably 10 decent crosses that they got in compared to every time we got the ball, and largely Musa, unfortunately, just a horrible overhit ball. I mean, more often than not, he was just punting it across for a goal kick. Whereas their balls into the box were dangerous. They had lots of corners second half. It was a tight game. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like 1-0 and it could have been 4. But over the piece, over the 90 minutes, they were the better team. No doubt about it.
This is almost sounded like a rugby match on the radio, and that they had the territorial. They were just pushing a bit harder, Clive. Obviously, I wasn't watching, but it sounded like a tight game where they just had a bit more oomph to what they were doing. Yeah,
it did. I mean, they've got two really good centre halves there. Greenwich, Weaker, I think he was called. Big
and the long throw as well, isn't it? Which is dangerous.
Long throw, Brooks from the left hand side. And we defended manfully. Nobody let us down from that point of view. But we just, the chances we did have. Paul Watson said it in his interview. The chances we had to sort of put dead balls and crosses into the box, there was no quality there at all. Cody Cook's just watching balls sail over. Well, they're not even over his head. They're not in the same postcode. And just a real lack of quality going forward, which is, deeply disappointing, isn't it, with the signings that we've been able to make.
I think it's a recurring theme this season.
What did we say last week? What did we say last week? What did I keep saying last week? We need, that final third. I mean, yes, the Hampton game, we made loads of chances. I was actually quite happy. But if you look back at it now, we make lots of chances, but still a lot wasted. And I really hope that going into Maidstone, again, where we're not going to get as many chances, it's just going to be down to that 1 minute. And you summed it up there, Clive. Maidstone put 10 pretty dangerous crosses in. Why are we so poor in the final thirds? Like, with the talent we have, it's just I never seem to feel like when we get the ball that we're going to be on the end of a cross. We've got Cody Cook in the middle, and we just don't give him chances. It's something just goes drastically wrong in that final third, and it's desperately disappointing. And to win a league, you play your way to win the league, and as compared a Torquay team to, I don't want to glorify that team as much because we all know it's brilliant, won the league, but that team also had, one contracted player at the start, and in the end, it was a team that really sort of won the hearts of the fans. I know I think it's a lot harder league now, but every time they went forward, you were excited they were going to score. We played 4-4-2. We didn't have big physical players either, apart from maybe Asa Hall in the middle, when he's absolutely in his best years for us. We just were dangerous and score loads of cutbacks and counter-attacking goals every time we've got the ball. But I don't think we've got two dissimilar squads. You could argue it's better in some ways, like we've got.
I don't want to have a go at Cody Cook too much, but he doesn't give you a lot of movement up front. And if you've got two solid centre backs, they can stick on him. They know he's not going to get over the top onto a through ball because he hasn't got the pace. So you've got to get close to him or put good crosses in. That's the trouble. It's a little bit like the side we had a few years ago where we had Namani and Whitfield around right, didn't we? And that worked really well because they were fast. They got around him. But you've got to get that support quick.
Yeah.
And Cody's not been playing well either. I think he looks a bit tired from playing so many games, and he just gets a lot of attention from the centre halves, and that does mount up throughout the season.
I don't know. He's a sort of centre forward that kind of necessarily movement's his main thing, though, is it? Because I mean, he's a battering ram, isn't he? And
if you look at that team we had a few years ago, we had Jamie Reid who could move centre backs around left or right, and that would create space for others, wouldn't it? Whereas Cody doesn't really do that sort of thing. So
I think my thing is that you've hit the nail on the head there, Dom, because Cody Cook's such a battler. He works hard for the team. But it don't quite work. Whenever he seems to win a header, it doesn't always seem to go to where we want. Where Danny Wright, in his best days, he was so clever at holding that ball up and bringing the players into. I'm not saying that's all Cody Cook's fault at all. It's just a general overall picture of our attacking sort of final third that it just doesn't really work. It never seems to look like they know exactly what they're doing. It's kind of all right, let's put the ball in and then hope a little bit, which is quite disappointing, really. I really hope that it would improve, and it seems to have got a lot worse at Maidstone, and that's really desperately disappointing because those are the times where you're going to win a league or not.
I think you need runners over the top as well. I think a lot of our players come to the ball. If you watch the likes of Young, Omar, they come back to get the ball. You not get a lot over the top to play for. Sometimes you've got to stretch teams to get space in between the lines, and it's just not quite clicking at the moment. It's a lot for. I think Paul Watton needs to work on it and get it right. But we're just in a bit of a transition phase at the moment, and it's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, I do agree. You're right. I don't really see many over the top. Like Cook is brought in to play, holds it up, and then like Jay will play it, and then you've got the wingers on the final part. We need to bring them inside a bit more.
Just variation, isn't it, to make them think more? I just don't think these teams are having to worry too much.
No, we don't work them enough in the mind.
I'm never a fan of comparing teams just because if they're different players. Like it's like this, this record we've got on Astro. I mean, it's completely irrelevant. Because it's different times, different phases, different players. It's bizarre for that very reason that it is different times. But that team we had that won this league before, that had pace, that had, if you look at Kalala, Reed, Opie Edwards when he was playing. There was pace, Jana. There was pace in that team. This team doesn't have pace in that way, does it? This has good footballers who are technical footballers, don't they? As you say, Don, they want to come short. They want to get the ball. They want to pass through people. But actually, what they've got to do is score more goals. That sounds unbelievably simplistic. We've got to find a way to score more goals. And, we've scored from open play in one of the last 4 games. And that's the worry, isn't it? At this stage of the season, we've almost kind of stopped scoring goals, which shows the importance of these next 2 games, doesn't it? Because if that continues and we don't get a win in these next 2 games, then all of a sudden it does become
why we might not get playoffs if we keep going this way.
Concerning for where the season will end up. Yeah, which for the players we've got, you don't look at this team, though, do you? And just think, like at times last year, we were 1-0 down. You thought, when you were like, well, that's it, because we're not going to score. But you look at the players. You think you had Morgan on the bench who came on. We got Ilasanmi came on. There's so much quality within that team. Yeah. It's baffling as to why we're kind of talking about lack of goals. It's strange.
I hate the idea of saying that all gear, no idea, but it kind of feels a little bit like that with all the players. But it's just, it's just. I'd hate to. It sounds really like putting them down, but it's true. Clive's right. It is true. It's it's just not working. It's really bizarre. Like
they're not bad players, are they? But sometimes the balance is
players at this level. Really
the balance doesn't quite work, does it? But that's what's happening at the moment. I think we just haven't got the right balance in the team to get the results.
I want to talk a little bit about expectations because we've obviously a year ago yesterday when we were filming this. It was like the Sloughs at the 4-0 and we had all the protests, something like that. It was also you're going to get to the point now where it's going to be the anniversary and we're going to be crikey. We have come so far as a club. We all know this, and it's like wow, we have one player, but at the end of the day. We did overachieve a little bit, but we were top of the league at Christmas. Now, if you're top of the league at Christmas, for me, that means you are a title contender and it shows you are good enough to win the league. I know teams burn out and all stuff like that, but we've strengthened since. We're top of the league at Christmas. We've signed Matt J since. If you told me at Christmas, right, you're top now, you signed Matt J, you're now 6th, you're going to be heavily disappointed. And that is just how it is. And we're good enough to win this league. In my opinion, football's not played on paper, but we should be thereabouts. It's a ridiculous title race now, and teams like Dorking will start taking advantage because they score goals. And I think it's very, very disappointing actually at the moment. This is a golden opportunity for football clubs to go up this year. The thing is now, if we don't win the league, the main thing is obviously getting playoffs, but getting a home playoff. We've seen our away form. Obviously, 3rd place guarantees you the semi-final at home, but if you play 2nd place, you're playing away. So the target is to keep winning and make sure we get 2nd or 3rd. I've always said if Torquay go up, the most Torquay way to do it this year would be playoffs. It just fits the story. But this is a big opportunity for a football club now. It's okay to change your expectations for the season. At the start, we're like, playoffs, but actually after seeing what we've got now, it will be a big opportunity missed if we don't get promoted this season, in my opinion. And that's what it has to be. That's what we're all now going to be judged on. We've been backed. We've got a brilliant squad now, in my opinion. I know they're not really playing like it at the moment, but we all need to get that kind of. We're all frustrated at the moment, but we need to get that energy back in on Saturday. Think where we were a year ago when we played on like the Devon Day, and we played when we got into administration, and everyone was behind the club fully. The players fully, and kicking every ball with the players. And we need to make sure that not criticising fans at all, but just right. The players need us now. On Saturday, I mean, they need to do a job for us. To be honest, so many great fans went and were very disappointed at Maidstone. But it's important now that we really make sure we're like, right, enough is enough. We need to get behind these sort of players now because it can't be easy at the moment. But they've really got crack on Saturday. It is a huge game and a tough game. Eastbourne, a very well managed team again, and we have to respect that. Anything to add before we move to the next part? Anyone?
Just the injury to Jordan Young's the worry, isn't it? We talked about injury to Dyer, but hopefully it was just a precaution to take him off as soon as he felt something. But any kind of, even with the games we've got coming up, even a 2 or 3 week absence could be quite damaging for where we are. So let's just hope it was just he felt something and it settled down if they got him off. Sometimes if you get people off quickly enough, it can mean that you avoid anything serious.
I think the trouble we have is we don't have any reserve team fixtures, do we? So they can't ease them back in.
Sharp.
Another fixture, so they chuck him back into the first team, and you are liable to get something else, aren't you? And that is a worry. Yeah, Dyer and Young have probably been our best players in the last 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, it's true.
them playing. How did Matt J do on Saturday, Clive? You weren't particularly impressed with him, or?
Well, I felt sorry for him because he had those centre halves breathing down his neck. same thing. I mean, there's one in the second half where he's trying to fight for a ball up here, and like he's got no chance, has he? He's not. I was getting flashbacks to Bishop's Cleeve almost, where we had Seymour, didn't we, up front trying to control balls pinged into his chest. I mean, Matt Jay's not that sort of player. You need to get
into his strengths. Yeah.
Maybe in between the lines, trying to pick a pass or trying to run in behind somebody. There's no point him having the ball up here somewhere. There's just no quality worth talking about for 90 minutes, I'm afraid. I mean, I it's a weird one. I think if I'd been stood in that corner with the other 250 Torquay fans, not with a great view, just watching that all game long, I'd have come away very, very frustrated. But there was a little bit of novelty there for me. Obviously, I'm up in the sort of radio gantry, and I've got a great view of it, and I'm actually getting to talk about the game as I go along as well. So that's actually quite good for getting rid of frustration.
You do get a different perspective on that, don't you? I always find that, yeah.
You do. It's a really selfish thing to say. I really enjoyed the afternoon, and the result maybe didn't hit me quite as hard as other ones did. Somebody came up to me before the game and said, "You were a miserable bugger at Slough, weren't you?" Yes, I was, because that was another frustrating night. And actually, it's the likes of the St Albans failure and the Slough failure, and obviously the Hampton defeat. They've been the really costly ones. If we'd actually got the results we probably ought to have done in those games, we wouldn't now be really worried about the fact that we couldn't beat Maidstone on Saturday, and we got two difficult games coming up. Really,
it's also the danger as well, Clive, isn't it?
That period.
Yeah. It's the danger of the home form doing the heavy lifting as well, isn't it? Which we kind of alluded to last week. Is the home form's been good, and it's been, but make no mistake now, what is that? 5 wins, 5 draws, 4 defeats away from home. That's probably not going to win you the league as it stands. So actually, the home form, if the home form just peters out a little bit, or a couple of draws, or a game like a Hampton where that can happen sometimes, you then become reliant on your away form, and there's not been any sign. I said 3 weeks ago that these 5 games were key in terms of what's happened. Well, we've only ended up with 4 of them, with the Chippenham game being called off. We've got 2 points, so that's.
I think we need to get back to keeping clean sheets at the moment. Get back to basics. That defence, right? We're not scoring many, are we? But if we can keep some clean sheets, win like on Saturday, maybe win 1-0, that sort of thing. I think that maybe is our best opportunity for the time being.
Yes,
outscore more. Best form of defence is attack.
No, out of position because you don't trust Krask at left back. So he's nowhere near the player at left back than he is at right back, Thomas. And it's going to be Palmer and Dreyer at the back, which is it's okay. But we're about 80% of the defence that we'd like to be. So actually, with all these attacking signings, it is down to them to start actually paying the rent a little bit.
My philosophy: if you score 3, I'll score 4. That's how football should be. The best form of defence is attack.
All right, Mark White.
When we won the league last time, we were winning 5-2, 7-3, 4-3, all that. We were like 6.
We had half of Bristol City's reserves.
That's true, but we were like 6-2 up in a game once, and I thought we were going to throw the lead. That's the team we were at the time. I know football moved on a little bit.
I can't think it was you said it, Clive. I don't know if it was you or somebody else in Talky Talk at the weekend said that by playing Thomas at left back, you're weakening the team still further because Thomas is a perfectly competent fullback, isn't he? Perfectly competent fullback, but by playing him at left back, he's been
in awful form. But just play Carson, and then you've got a very good right hand side. Or even
Carson mustn't be available because I don't believe he would have just been omitted completely from the last 2 games.
No. Well, he had that game at Slough, didn't he?
Yeah, you were shocking, but you learn. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
If he does it again, fair enough.
Even if we played Moxie for an hour and Carson for half an hour or something, that's got to be better in terms of because then you've got Thomas at right back, you've got a left footer at left back. That gives you a better structure than playing a right footer at left back and a right back who is a competent right back, but wouldn't be there if Thomas was playing there. So I'm not sure about that.
Here's a suggestion for Saturday. Do you go 5 at the back? Do you play Moxie left hand side of a back 3? So Thomas can then go back to right back, and you take a chance on Carson because more often than not he's going to be further up the pitch. He's clearly not trusted, is he, defensively?
I'll tell you what. As much as I don't really like that formation, yeah, I would. To be honest, I would if Carson was available.
Guy up with Cook, couldn't you then?
Yeah, then you can definitely have 2 solid strikers. Depending on Young's fitness, I guess you play him off them.
The only other thing that I'd say with it is you can't keep changing the shape every week. In the last 3 games, we've played 4-3-3. He's gone to 4-2-3-1, which I think is the best formation for the players that we have.
4-2-4 is the best way forward.
But you can't keep changing it. You can't now change your philosophy again and go back to 3 at the back and kind of start trying to bring people.
Is it changing the philosophy though? I think you have the same philosophy, but you're just having a different structure. Formation.
Completely, but you go about trying to win the game in a completely different way, don't you? I think 4-2-3-1 is the way to go with the players we've got with Jane behind.
I do agree,
but Musa and Morgan and people like that, Ilasanmi, who can play further forward with Cook. There for the players we've got. 4-2-3-1 is the formation that I would be looking to go with, but you've got to have the players. It's the classic, square pegs and round holes. You've got to have players in the right positions, and if we're choosing not to play Carson or Moxie, that's slightly puzzling to me.
I think as well, at the end of the day, no matter what formation, if your final ball is absolutely shocking.
Well, yeah, we've got to have more quality in the front third. Doesn't matter who's playing where, but you've got to get better crosses in. You've got to finish better.
If you're going to feed Cook, you've got to get to the byline as well, because a lot of these crosses are coming in from in swinging, aren't they? Which the centre halves gobble up, aren't they? So
but again,
playing on the right, he cuts in on his left. The ball's coming in, so the centre backs want to see it. So
if you think byline at all, are you? Back to the Hampton game, several times in the Hampton game, we got Krask in round the side, and he's in with a really good opportunity to put a cross in the box. And there wasn't one cross that said, "Go on, head me in," or whipped into a dangerous area. They were all cut out of the front post or cut out by the first defender. There was no quality into the box to say, "Go on, stick that in the net." And it's things like that, little percentages.
Patterns of plays, Chris. I think we've mentioned it all season. With patterns of play, I think we just need a bit more imagination. Is that Paul Watten's strength as a manager? He hasn't shown enough of that yet. He's shown plenty of other things.
But he's signing the players that can do it, hasn't he? That's the funny thing. He's known as being a kind of a solid, tactically astute coach, isn't he? But he's been given the license to buy these players and play in a way that maybe they just need to show it a bit more. But again, the further down the season you get, the harder it gets. The tension creeps in, the pressure creeps in, and it gets harder, doesn't it? Now on in.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to left back just for a minute, because since Jay Falston got injured, we've not had a great option there, because Carson had a mare at Slough, and he's had some quite dodgy games before that as well. Moxie only lasted an hour and was certainly cut out. I won't say it was his fault, but the goal came down his side that we conceded in the home game. And so you've got a real dilemma there.
Do we look to bring one in?
You've got Thomas as an option who's not going to let you down at left back, but you're losing quite a lot by playing him there, aren't you? You're losing his attack.
Massively.
It's definitely an issue. You've got 2 left backs already, haven't you?
It's a very difficult situation. And I don't know if there is a perfect answer, but I did just think maybe you can probably trust Moxie at left centre back.
Yes,
he's not going to have people charging past him, and it does then allow you, I think, to give Matt Carson another go. But
I think that's true in the people, but I just don't know. You want to keep changing the shape again. You've got to get into a pattern of play that you're working on that is going to settle. But I think position player wise that makes sense.
You could play Lee Moxie at left back, but as I said, it's a fitness thing, isn't it?
Dangerous.
Can you do it? It's the trouble.
Sorry, Dean. Sorry, mate. We love you.
He'll win everything, but it's just the pace side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Should we move forward into Kelly's, not Kelly's corner?
Well, what do you want to call it? Wade's corner.
Chris's corner.
Chris's corner, very good.
Chris's corner, that's better.
So yes, I've been subbed in for Kelly's corner this week. So the question we asked was, how important for our promotion ambitions are the next 2 games, and what are your predictions? So we've had a good amount of responses. Thank you for your answers as always. Peter Timpson says, no more important than the past 2 games. 2-1 win followed by a 3-0 loss. So that's that's a bit of both, isn't it? At Disco Barry, what if that's Barry that sings at the darts? I think both games are going to be difficult. Hopefully we can return to winning ways against Eastbourne and maybe get a draw against Worthing. So for me, it's 2-1 Eastbourne and 1-1 at Worthing. Would like to see Manny from the start. What do you lads think?
I don't know. I haven't seen him yet properly. So
there they go.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, I mean, he came on and played wider, didn't he, at the weekend? So yeah, maybe that could be an option. Josh Cole says always back as at home this season to get 3 points, though we have in capital letters to make sure we take our chances in that game. If not, and make sure when we're on top. Worthing away, not sure we get anything there. Happy to be proved wrong. I think 3 points for the next 2 games. Chris Braun says need a win on Saturday. Injuries in defence aren't helping us. I take a point on Tuesday. We are Torquay United. We don't do things the easy way. That's definitely true. Ollie says don't think our next 2 are as important as Bournemouth at home or Dorking away. So 1-1 against Eastbourne and 3-1 loss at Worthing. Dear. Robert Youssef says need to win the home ones for sure. Won't be easy as long as we're in the mix with 5 or 6 games to go. I back the boys to get us promoted, but still a long way to go. And in his own corner, Kelly says we need to win on Saturday and pick up a minimum of a point at Worthing. Both will be extremely tough with both sides in excellent form, so everyone will need to step up to get us through a difficult patch. Key for me is the fitness of Fulston. We need him back ASAP. There are your thoughts. So hopefully 4 points would be handy, wouldn't it? We'd take that.
High hopes for Worthing then, isn't there?
Yeah, look forward to your trip there, Clive.
Very much so, yes.
We could do a watch along.
Oh, blimey.
God.
Those were the days. Isn't it?
It's been a while, Dom.
You had some angry ones last season, didn't you? Slapping that table.
I'm not sure the people need to see me on a watch along.
Well, there's watch alongs. There's no hiding place because, like, I've had a couple of days to get over it. You know, you put a camera in my face or a Zoom camera in my face on Saturday. It's a different episode. Well, no, I'm very much like, so Sunday morning, there's like angry WhatsApps by me going in, and everyone's like, "Oh, angry Sam's back." By like Tuesday, it's like, "Wow, he is," and there's banned football in it. So yeah,
maybe if Dom can tap the budget, we could have a watch along with Clive with a GoPro on his head, and see how the two complement each other. Clive with his Guinness in one hand, his GoPro in the other.
That'd be lovely. That's what the people want, isn't it?
Isn't it? Eh?
What do you think for Eastbourne then? For the Eastbourne game,
we need to get back to winning ways at home. 2-0.
It'll be a 1-1 draw.
They're unbeaten in 11, aren't they? But we've got to find a way to win that. Yeah, I'm confident we'll win that 2-0.
I'll say 1-0.
Clive,
I'll just go law of averages with you a win. So
yeah. I was thinking 2-1, but I'm getting a bit superstitious now. I keep predicting wins and we're not winning, so I'm going for a 1-1. So yeah.
What was your score, Clive?
I'll say 1-0.
1-0. I thought you'd say 4-3, Sam. That was your new mantra, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well,
you score 3, we'll score 4.
That is my philosophy. I'm not.
Right.
It's not.
Is that how it works on Football Manager? Is it? Right. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's how it can work. That's what my Football Manager. Yeah.
I'd love us to go all guns blazing and be like that sometimes because it would be more fun. We've been grinding out a lot of games this season.
So much more fun.
Right? You're winning, but
I love attacking football. I love every time my team comes forward. I think they could score it.
Yeah, but the first 20 minutes against Hampton was like that. It was like, this is really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was on the
overload. This is great, but we didn't score.
No,
yeah,
that's it.
That's my problem. That's why I thought we went backwards at Maidstone. I know you could say it's a harder game, but
and what about Worthing then?
Yikes!
Oh,
Yikes!
Plastic pitch with that 5-1 defeat in the cup ringing in our ears as well.
They've got some good players, haven't they?
Worthing a great team.
Yeah.
No, I think we've got a good team, but I think Worthing will win 2-0. Happy watch along for us. No chair inbound.
We'll get a point, 1-1.
Yeah. 2-1 to Worthing.
Come on, Clive.
I think Mo Farrell will be too hot for us again. I'd 3-0. I can't see it. 3-0.
Get the GoPro out.
Is your wife in the background? Why are you going there then?
Because there's always hope, isn't there? You know,
you've always got hope, I suppose.
Yeah. We need a win on Saturday to start with.
What's the case then? What's the case for Torquay getting a result at Worthing? What would you base that on if you were going to predict that?
Well, the law of averages have to suggest we need to win on a plastic pitch eventually. So
because we're only playing Worthing,
we show the quality. Exactly, we show quality in the final third. Literally just comes down to that.
We're not playing a top Premier League team, is it? It's just Worthing. I mean, they're a good team, but
I'm sick. I'm sick of every time we play Worthing, we have to do an episode. We go, "Oh, Worthing are the best team we've seen at Playmore." Honestly, like I just feel like Worthing just absolutely annihilate us. This has to stop.
I think we give these teams when we go away too much respect as well, don't we? Sometimes I think we've been saying that all season, and we should be a bit more decisive,
in your face,
a bit more aggressive.
Ball perfect. Leave an early tackle. Be nastier.
Who's doing that then? Who's doing that in our lineup?
What's the point?
Who's going to kick people? Who's going to be aggressive? Because I
think that midfield is an issue. Frelko's been fine at home recently, but away from home, I just don't think he gives enough. Does he? You probably want a big, imposing midfielder to get stuck in the middle. I think you probably need a bit of that, don't you?
Well, that was good. We've really cheered ourselves up.
Yeah. I know. I'm going to love it when we're on it next week. 6 points in the bag.
Yeah, and
Clive's still got his Guinness in his hand for the night before.
Yeah.
It takes a win or two, doesn't it?
Yeah, the watch along would be amazing. Sam's Lemons, San Pellegrino's.
Is that your new sponsor?
Oh, hello. Someone's earning well.
Alcohol, so I treat myself to this. Is that
your Tesco's own?
No, this is from my nan's house, so very fancy.
Good drink. I prefer the orange one. Those funny.
Really, no.
Our new signing from Italy,
Dan Pellegrino.
Need something.
He's called the Italian Dan Martin, internet left back.
Oh my god!
Carlos Kickable, wasn't it? Was wasting money at Spurs. Oh, Carlos Kickable.
There we go. Right. Thank you so much for watching this week. I hope we've cheered you up. And let's get behind the lads on Saturday.
Come on.
See you next week.
Yellows.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.